This is our interview for World Wars class, and I'm interviewing Victor Facchino, and it's May 18th, 2001, and we're at Road Free Academy. How you doing today?
Good, very good.
I'd like to start off asking about your childhood growing up. I read that you were born in Brooklyn.
Right.
What was it like growing up in Brooklyn?
Well, in them days it was a little rough. I used to sell papers, Daily News, Daily Mirror, and same thing, almost like the intramurals at school here and stuff like that. And you just naturally growing up, you know, hang around with guys. Kind of rough at the time. You know, everybody was very poor them days. And you go through different things. Not much than they do today.
And then it said you went to high school in Miami.
Yes.
Like around what age did you go to Miami?
Oh, I was about 12, I guess. And went to school, played basketball, played football, played softball, played baseball. What else we did? Oh, soccer and all the immediate things you could do. And it was very good growing up in Miami because you could play all year round.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Is there anything that sticks out in your mind from your time down there?
Yeah, let me see. Well, I like the weather for the one thing. Just go swimming every day. And the people were very nice. They were, you know, they say this and that about the Southerners, but they were very cordial for a northern family to move down there.
Yeah.
I was the only Italian in school at that time.
Wow.
So it's, you know, they sort of look out for you, or look at you.
Yeah.
So what's this guy going to do? What he isn't going to do?
Okay. You were part of the Navy.
Yes.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
Drafted.
You were drafted. And what were your feelings about that?
Well, it wasn't too good because I had to go away from home. But like I say, it turned out to be, it was an experience.
Where did your training take place?
But first I went to Sampson Naval Station, boot camp. And then I went to Pensacola, Florida, Naval Air Station. And
I read that your highest rank was 52C, or 52/C. Could you explain what that
52/C? No, it should be Seaman 2C.
Oh, I must have just screwed. I must have got that wrong. That's my fault. I'm sorry. And what was entitled in that?
Well, I got shipped to. Not that I got shipped there. I was stationed there at Squadron 7. It was a Seaplane Squadron, and they had different units there. Like they had the SC-1 Hawk, the OS-2U Kingfisher, and it was involved in learning the ropes about both planes. So they used to take you out and show you what the guys used to do. Pull up to the U-2C, the O-2Us by hoist. You couldn't climb up the ramps. And you had the tiller man, front man, and used to be pulled by a tug. And you had to watch him and this and that, and then they let you do it. You had to steer the plane around from the back, not from the front. And the OS-2Us, I mean the SC-1s, a different kind of plane. That was a medium seaplane bomber. And I had to do the same thing with them, but they used to come up a ramp. You had to put the wheels on. They used to get in the water with waders, with lock pins, stick the thing, then the tugger used to pull them out of the ramp. And also, while you're training for this, they used to make you, after a while, they'd assign you a plane. So like the SC-1 in this picture I'll show you. And you were the plane captain. That involved a lot of engine compasses and stuff like that. You had to go through to warm up the planes for the officers and this and that. And you had to check the guns on them, check the amps, and let's see what else was on there. Check the hydraulic fluid in the planes, and this is all up to you as a plane captain. Then the plane captain, pilot comes out, he used to sign off on you, in your hands, everything's supposed to be up to par. Then he used to launch him, run down the ramp with him, boom, there he goes.
Like you said, you mentioned you worked with the Seahawk and the Kingfisher. Was there anything special about those planes?
Yes, one was a training plane, the OS-2U Kingfisher was a training plane.
Okay.
And the SC-1 was a medieval coast-to-coast bomber.
So, like, when you were doing your training, the Kingfisher was what you trained on.
You
But
trained on it.
when the SC-1 Seahawk came in, that was the real deal. Like,
Now,
okay.
well, they were both real deals, even into your training, because if you didn't get it right on the first one, the next one was higher level.
Yeah.
You had to be on the ball, because if you didn't know what you were doing, somebody could get hurt.
Big responsibility.
Was there any, when you were doing this, was there any nervousness in that I can't screw up? Well, if I make a mistake, something really bad can go wrong.
No, if you thought that you were gonna make a mistake, you used to go to your chief petty officer and say, I don't understand this. Will you show me how to do it? And take a man with you, and he'd show you everything around the cockpit, and how the guns work, how this works, and how that works.
So they really wouldn't give you a hard time about that if you...
Oh, no. If you were in doubt, just
Yeah.
go to your chief petty officer, and he's supposed to direct you.
Mhm.
He will direct you, let's put it that way.
Yeah. And when you mentioned how you had to go out into the water and you had to clip the wheels on the planes, was that a fairly easy hard or a real hard task?
Well, let's put it this way, it wasn't a hard task and it wasn't easy, it was
Yeah.
in between. But you had to know what you're doing, because them pins didn't lock,
Yeah.
and the tug was pulling the plane up the ramp. The floats used to hit on the side of the ramps. See, the only planes that in the PBY-5 were the only planes that could come up a ramp
Okay.
with wheels.
Was it a one-man thing or there's a whole...
No, there's two crews.
Two
that
crews?
work on putting the wheels on, one on each side.
When these planes came in, where were they arriving from? Where were they coming from?
Well, all kinds of flights they used to have. Some were training, some were patrol flights. They used to patrol the coast.
And I also read that you worked in the crash unit and you watched from the tower.
That's another thing. When the planes used to have night flights and day flights.
Yeah.
Now every so often, periodically, used to catch what they call a night watch. They used to go to this crash house and had boats there in the docks. And while they were flying at night, something go wrong with the planes. The pilot had trouble with his gas engine, something, he had to come down. We used to go out and get him. They used to ring a buzzer, boom, there you go.
Were you always alert and ready when doing that, or did you find yourself sometimes just sitting around?
Well, you had that much training where you had that much training where you didn't get nervous, and or they wouldn't send you on that watch. You had to be, capable of knowing what you're doing, right? Operating the boat. They had special guys doing this.
When you were down there, like what kind of schedule were you on? Were you 24 hours a day? Or?
No, it was an average work day.
Okay. And were you down there with anybody you knew? Or?
There was a couple of guys that were with me. Not from Rome. One from was Watertown, and the other one was from Pennsylvania.
And like say when you guys were done with your day, did you just stay on the base or?
Oh no, you used to get liberty, you used to go off the base. You could do that. After you chowed down.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have enough money to go off base and have fun and drink, whatever was then for the young guys.
Right.
You're young enough to know that.
I also was looking at how you said you were on a crash boat. Did you ever have to go out?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
something. Minor things. Sometimes, say a float wouldn't work on a plane, something like that, or he was running out of gas, or he dipped the wing too much, he just couldn't control his aircraft. Then you used to have to go out and see if the pilot was hurt or not.
Was it like a crew of guys that went out?
Yeah, there was 4 men to a crew.
Okay. What was it like when you were on the flight routine and you're patrolling around the Bermuda Triangle? What was that like?
Well, they fly a pattern. You get your orders for the night, whatever's off for the day. You're the plane captain, your plane is going to watch it. So you make sure it's ready. Then you fly 24 hours one way along the coast of Florida, 24 hours up, 24 hours up in a triangle. Then you come back the same way. But you only do to the bottom of the triangle. And look for seaplanes, look for submarines, pilots down, enemy aircraft, enemy subs and stuff like that.
Did you ever find any?
Well, we radioed a few then, but you know, that was our job.
Oh, okay.
Never, no action.
Oh, so it was you that located, but then say another crew came
Well,
in.
then they used to have what they call a dish plane. You've seen these planes with the dish on the top, the radar plane.
Okay.
They used to radio, whoever that, radio the fleet or radio the coast fleet or whatever's involved. And then they used to go after them.
Was it ever an idea that you might have to go overseas, or you knew your job was on the home
Well,
front?
it was an active unit, and everybody was trained for a specified division. Now, if you had to go overseas, they used to tell you that. Now, next month you're going overseas. Your crew used to go out.
Back to like when you were drafted. Were you said you felt like you're leaving home. Were you really worried about it, or you figure, well, I just have to do it?
Well, not really worried, but you know, like any young guy would do. Was what, 16, 17? And you feel, am I ever going to see my mother again, or my father again? Am I going to see my friends again? All these guys that you were in boot camp with, who's going here, who's going there? And it turned out pretty good. A little worried, but not that much worried.
Yeah. It said that you received the American Theater Medal and the Victory Medals for your
Yeah,
service.
that's
What are those? Like, what are those about?
they're different sections of the United States that you go, and one side is American Theater, and the other side is overseas theater, and that's it.
Did you ever feel, like, say you had to go out on the crash unit, did you ever feel that something was really in danger? And
Well, every time you went on the crash unit, there's something wrong. Either the plane was, like I told you before, he was going down, or he dipped his wing, too much water, too much this, too much, something always had, but I never felt that I was in this unit and you had to know what you were doing.
So basically, you were expected, right?
Well, you were expected the worst.
Right.
was there, I mean, you said you had to be sure, was there any time you ever had a mishap? Whether you were, putting the wheels on the plane, coming in, or were you pretty much, you had?
No, I could say, truthfully, not on MSC once,
Okay,
because the OS-2Us used to be lifted out of the water by hoist,
okay.
by crane.
What were your feelings about the war in general?
Well, I'm not going to say I liked it, but the general feeling, if you had to go overseas, you had to go. That's almost that's what they put you in that unit to explain that to you. So you could be in there overnight or not. Tomorrow morning you're going to go, and that's just the way it goes.
When you were, how long did your training last? When you're done, your boot camp training? When you said you were in Samson Naval Base?
Yeah. Well, that's altogether different thing. Boot camp. That's
Is
just
it?
regimental instructions and taking orders.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you did take orders, or else you were on the, on the bad side.
Okay.
You get different duties, like mess hall duty, or guard duty, or walking duty, and or boat duty. You had to watch the dories out there in the bay. Something to make you sure that you did something wrong, you were being punished for it.
That's where, if there was going to be mistakes made,
That's right.
You correct them there. Did you find your assignment right then? Did you go right down to Pensacola, or after that? right after boot camp, or was there a little time?
No, they tell you, they told me we was going to Pensacola, we didn't know not what was gonna, you'd be assigned to a squadron, be assigned to a hangar, or whatever's involved. I happened to be fortunate enough to get assigned to a squadron, but you could have got assigned to shore duty, shore patrolman, stuff like that.
Do you feel that, and I believe this, but do you also feel that you had just the biggest part in the war effort, as say the guys over in Europe or the Pacific fighting?
Yes, because for a simple reason, I was being trained for a specified condition. Like, somebody got hurt, or a unit got hurt overseas, well, your unit used to go.
Yeah.
So you knew you were taking somebody's place, and they depended on you if you went,
Yeah.
that you knew what you were doing. But if you didn't know what you're doing, you know, it's another story.
Yeah. 'Cause I think that's one of the things that some people don't realize.
Well, they make you understand that as you're going through this training on these SC-1s and OS-2Us, that everything you're doing is a purpose for it.
Right.
Just like being a plane captain. If you're a plane captain and the pilot comes on, this is my plane ready, you know, you're up there in the cockpit
Yeah.
checking out the compasses and the air amperages and everything else, and the guns, and make sure it's ready.
Can you explain like, what kind of plane is this? Is
That's
this,
the PBY-5.
that's the PB?
That's a reconnaissance plane. That also patrols the coast.
Okay.
They got a radar and a gunner on, 2 gunners on it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and tilt that up. Do a close up of that. Okay.
And this train, is this?
That's the Freedom train, if you remember. You don't remember that. You're a little young for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And was this?
That used to naval recruiting and stuff like
Okay.
that. You ride the Freedom train. They used to have sailors on that, different things, going from town to town or state to state.
And you said you were, high school age when you were drafted, and were a lot of your friends drafted as well?
Yes,
And they went off to other places?
different divisions.
Did you develop any special ties to anybody while you were down in your training?
Well, I met a few guys that were really got together. But after you get out, you're looking. And when you're in the Navy or the Army or Marine Corps, when they say you're being separated, you're looking to get out, and you lose track of them.
Mhm.
I met through the years. Went to visit a couple of them, but it's a different story when you're out.
Right.
When the war was over, what were your feelings? Was it relief, or I just want to get home? Or?
Well, actually, I felt glad in one way and sad in another for a lot of guys that didn't come back. But like I said, in our unit, it was just, I said, well, this is it. That's part of what happens, what happens. A new start of supposedly a new life.
Did you have to continue any service after that?
No,
No.
not that you had a choice if you wanted to go in the reserve or not. But I didn't continue it.
And what were some of the things you did after?
Well, I went on, first I went to, let me see, I went on construction.
Mhm.
Then I went on to the air base.
And what did you do there?
Well, I was a truck driver in the air base. And construction, I worked various jobs, cement finishing, different things.
Do you feel that the training you learned in like your boot camp and Pensacola helped you in the future? Like you were very you wanted to get it done. You were detailed about it. You made sure your job was done.
Very much so. They teach you to have sense, just like you two guys are young. Now, when you're in there, you think you're the world's greatest, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you get regimental, you say, now, Victor, you do this, Victor, you do that, sorts of get to you a little bit. But when you come out of the Navy or come out of the Army and Marines or whatever it is, you're regimental. Yes, sir, no, sir, and that.
Yeah.
You have respect for people. and respect for the Navy or whatever branch you were in. They give you good training, and like I say, I was in the Navy a couple of years, but like I say, it's very good for the individual. If you want to be a smart guy. If you want to be a smart guy, that's a different story. They got rules for that too.
Do you know a couple of them?
I know a lot of them.
Really?
What happens to them? They.
Well, you know, some guys wind up in prison
Mhm.
because, you know, they can't take it
Yeah.
and this and that. And, you know, just the way your thoughts are at that time.
Were you a lot different than you before you went into the Navy than when you were during, like, you were this kind of person, but then as you went there, you changed a lot, or?
Well, when I went in, I was really hot shot.
Right.
I figured I'm in the Navy, I'm in a uniform, I got the hat, I get all the girls, I get this and that. But sometimes it turns out that way. But on the average, it doesn't. But you're a better man for it because you went through all this thing, and when you get out, you got a little more sense, a little more know right from wrong.
Back to the SC-1 Seahawk and the Kingfisher. Did you enjoy doing that, or
Yes, I do
you
very
did?
much.
Was it something you liked?
It's something that I never done before, you know, it's intriguing to know that maybe someday I'm gonna get called, I'm gonna go overseas, make sure this friend, I know how to operate a plane, know how to start it and stuff like that. But there's quite an act to it.
So basically, what it did was it landed on the water, and you had to go out there,
Yes,
and then you just put the wheels on and you.
No. Not me,
Oh,
they had special crews for that.
okay.
I was but I had to be there
Yeah.
to see that they did it right.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you were like the supervisor of the whole thing.
Well, captain, wherever plane captain, wherever his plane goes, you go with it. Whether it's on shore or on land or what. If it goes in a hangar, you go with it. Make sure they gotta do what they gotta do to it.
When you were on your 24 hours back and forth patrolling, what was that like? Was that something you were always ready for, or sometimes you're just sitting back?
Well, at first it's very monotonous. So you're going this way, you're coming back, and you sit there, and you watch a chart, and you watch the water. And like I say, you might say, you spot, say, a herd of, another herd of school of porpoises or something. It registers. See, anything on the water it registers, and you had to watch this chart. Then if you got in actual combat trouble, even in the United States on the coast, because there were Japanese submarines off the coast, you had to be ready for action. You had a man in 30 caliber machine gun or a 50 caliber machine gun.
Like, was that something? Sometimes somebody might think it was an enemy plane, or just one of your planes, but end up being like you said, a porpoise or something else, because they always came up.
Oh no, definitely definitions of what's on the water is very distinct
Okay.
with them kind of planes.
Yeah.
It's very radar and sonar and all that stuff is all registered. It's very
Sophisticated equipment. to
very
get that.
sophisticated. Very.
Was there any, say, fear of something happening? Like you said, you had to man the guns. But you're always ready and alert for that.
Always ready.
I just got one follow-up question I'd like to ask. Is there any special story, or maybe not story, but a moment in your mind that sticks out from that time over there?
Yeah, it was very good. One time we were flying in the Bermuda Triangle, so-called this triangle, and our instruments went out. And we were flying, and I took notice as this guy Ralphie on the plane. I says, we've been flying too long, I think. He says, yeah, Vic. He says, think we're lost in the triangle. You know, naturally, you're lost in the triangle.
Right.
You know, if you want to get out of it. Because funny things happen there. All your radar goes out, your radios go out, everything, and you just fly. Till you come to the radio man is always hitting the dials,
Right.
till you get confirmation where you are. And that was scary thing. Because you didn't know if you're gonna land or you're gonna go in the water.
Now, was this something that happened all the time?
Oh, not all the time.
Okay.
But I guess in the papers you see where planes have been lost in Bermuda for years.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they rise to the surface or something. But that triangle is a tricky thing.
Is that just because you can't get a radio signal or like a radar or any in your
Well,
instruments?
something in the atmosphere there that does it. I don't know what it is. They never found out what it is, but with the sophisticated planes they got today, they know.
Yeah.
You fly away from it.
Right.
Hopefully.
Was that like the first time that the Bermuda Triangle ever came into effect, or before your planes or the planes in World War II? Like, did they ever notice that you couldn't get any radar over there, or begin to lose the radar?
A few times they did, yes.
So you
but
weren't unfamiliar with it, right?
We didn't know about it.
Oh. Oh, okay.
See, you never tell the crew.
Yeah.
Just the pilot and the co-pilot.
Yeah.
They keep it from the crew.
Is
All
there-
you do is do your job. That's what makes the plane captain the senior member of the crew, even though it's being flown by a pilot. But he's got to watch all this.
Was the people you were down there with, like I see in the picture here, was that a tight group or?
Very tight group,
Was
yes.
it?
The different pictures there, like this picture here is all over the squadron. Commander Denton was his name. Chief Taylor was on one of our chiefs. Chief Surratt was another one. And all these, this was the whole squadron. Now this picture here, these guys were connected with the plane. And one was a hydraulic man, one was an engine man, one was a float man, make sure the pontoons were good. Another one was, this 20 was, he was ahead of all of us. He was the senior rater. This guy Kelly was, I think he was fuselage man. And Ryan, I think, what was Ryan? He was a radio man. And myself, I was the captain of the plane.
Something like the hydraulics man. What was his job?
Well, everything on that plane is run by hydraulic, red oil. Now, he jacks the plane, and say he wants the flaps to go down. There's no hydraulic fluid in there, they're not gonna go down. And you had to check all this.
Okay.
Coming and returning.
In and out. Before it goes out, right? You're saying?
Before it goes out and coming back.
in.
And he used to put the plane on a 3-day
Okay.
overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
Once we made a flight around the horn, they call it. Goes in the hangar, and you're there, and all these guys are there too with you, checking everything out so nothing goes wrong again.
But how long do you think that process takes?
What?
How long did that process take?
Oh, it took, let me see, in the morning it used to take about 45 minutes revving up the plane.
I noticed on this picture, what do you just...
These are the tugs that pull the plane out of the water.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm on it, sometimes somebody else is on it, but usually you're not on it as a plane captain.
Mm-hmm.
But on this one, I was a wise guy there smoking a cigarette, which I don't do no more. These pull right up the ramp, and they taxi him around and put him on the spot where they were before.
Say something like that. Did any of the guys ever rotate duties, or that hydraulics man, that was his thing?
That's his thing.
That's what his training was all about.
So, every one of these men here had a specified job. Now, as a plane captain, like I said before, after you got through revving up the plane, and if you saw something like a dial was off, say 5 degrees, 10 degrees, you go to him. Kelly, check that out. Look in the reservoirs and see everything was good or bad. That's before takeoff. If it was bad, it didn't take off.
And you said, like this guy, was it this guy the head of? He was the head of all.
He was the head of us.
And did he he checked everything? You said okay.
No, you used to give them. They give you an not an application. They give you a sound slip. You check it all after you revved it up.
Yeah.
Now, if he saw anything that was inconspicuous to what? To the radio man, or the radar man, or the fuselage and stuff like that, he'd come and tell you.
Do you have any questions?
I just like I know everything sounds so humble, like how like you haven't had any horrible experiences or anything like that. Because some of the vets that we've talked to had some really horrible experiences. How do you feel about not having one of those memories in your mind? Do you feel lucky or do you feel privileged?
Very lucky, very privileged.
A little bit both.
Because I know a lot of guys I know that were in the Army and the Navy, and the Marines, got hurt by it. My own cousin got killed there. And you know, you feel
A little bit of both, right?
a little bit of both. To be certain of it, you can't specify how you just feel. But you feel sad. Because, you know, could have been you, could have been him.
Right.
It happens. Been a friend of yours or not.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's a relation, it's a different story.
Right.
Yeah, just like that. It's sometimes you say, well, how come it happens to him? Why shouldn't I be out? Why aren't I out there doing what
That's
he's
right.
doing?
But that's what the Navy does. See, every time everybody goes, any young guy goes in the Navy, they're trained for a specified job. It's like I told you before, somebody gets hurt overseas in the unit, you might replace him. And you better, you know what you're doing. Not that you better know, but
You have to.
it's got to be, you got to be on the ball. But like I say, in the long run, like I say, in the 2 years I was there, I strongly recommend the Navy's good training. And you can go far in the Navy if you got the aptitude and the mind to.
Now, did you have the opportunity, although you were drafted and you said you would stop your service after, could you have continued in the Navy?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you could have?
Yes. They ask you when you get separated.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stay in? Well, they call it re-up.
And I know it's your choice, but and they'd rather have you there, but did they somehow even subtly pressure you maybe to stay in, or they just was
No,
completely
they don't
your
pressure
cho-
you.
It's completely your
It's
choice.
up to your choice.
Well, I'd like to end up this. Is there anything you want to say about your whole experience at that time, or even how it's affected you after?
That's a good question. Sometimes I think I should have stayed in the Navy. And other times I say, well, maybe I wouldn't have got married, maybe. I wouldn't have got any kids and stuff like that. You think about them things. But as a whole, I would say I should have stood in.
Really?
Because you can go far, very far.
Do you think maybe just because it was at the time you were young and you maybe didn't know as much as you said, I just want to leave? Or?
Well, maybe that had something to do with it. It could be. You're thinking of, when you're getting out, all you're thinking of is, I'm going to get out of here.
Right.
Because you're still young. Now, if you'd have thought a little bit, you'd have said, oh, maybe I should continue on. You might come out a commander, or you're a captain, or whatever's involved. But it's a wonderful thing for a young guy, if he pursues that.
Is there anything like that, Joe?
Not really. I'm just pretty astonished, really, about this whole situation. You know, it's all new to us because I could imagine how it was to be growing up back then, and just someone coming to you and be like, "You're going into the military. Get ready." You know.
It's a jolt, but it's not that bad, because if you stop and think, even though you're younger, you still got some brains in the ears. Well, I'm going in the Navy today. I'm going in the Navy tomorrow. I ain't going to see my girl no more. I ain't going to see this. I ain't going to see. Then you start to think,
Right.
is this good or bad? Now, when I get there, now it's a different story. That's not so bad.
Right. So the thinking process is only like a couple of days before you get there.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah.
But like I say, in the Navy, they treat you good. They treated me good. Because you don't get, in a lot of places you don't get ice cream. In the Navy you get ice cream.
Wow.
I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure for me, and I'm sure for Jeff as well.
Thank
You're
you.
two good boys.
Thank you very much.
Wish I was young as you both is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's recording.
All right. My name is Derrick Hogan,
My name is Jeff Gifford.
and we interviewed Mr. Victor Facchino for our oral history project. It's May 18th, 2001, and we're at Rome Free Academy.
The interview went overall pretty well. I'd like to thank everyone involved and had a great experience.
Very good.